Ouch!
So what's happening, everybody? It's your boy, the Gadget Inspector. Once again, going through some drills and some things and working on a few things in this downtime. I just wanted to cover something that I've been doing for a while. Helped me with sight picture and things, and now that I'm learning the red dot, or getting used to the red dot on my Beretta APX, I'm using the same techniques to help focus on that dot, get it to where it needs to, and minimize movement. So basically, like, where I start is everybody, well, I won't say everybody, but you know, your basic stance. Okay, we'll start off in a basic isosceles, which is just based on a triangle, of course. So you got your legs shoulder width apart. You want to kind of bend your knees because you want to be able to take that impact if you have to move, you know, anything. You want to be, you know, kind of roll forward, get on those toes, so that anything you have to do, you're more agile. If you put your foot flat down and try to spin, it's not as easy to pivot. You get on the tip of your toe, you can roll, okay? So we don't want to necessarily be up on our toes so that we're rolling, so that we roll forward or we roll back. So we just want to kind of shift our weight to where it's on the front of our feet so that we're able to move. We still have a firm plant with our body anchors, but we're still able to get that movement because we're just still going basic. So now from there, like I said, get your knees bent, and then you want to go and get your position. So now here, just basically, what I started to do was just get used to just turning and just that movement. Because as you're moving, what you'll notice is that if you're moving the right spots, you'll feel it. If you're moving the wrong spots, you'll feel it. So you want to pull your shoulders back, but you want to punch out. Okay? So you want your shoulders to be there. You want to be locked. So while you're focusing here, you want to bring that line. So you want to be a straight line straight out here. You don't want to be doing too much of this. You don't want to be doing too much of this. You want to be able to have your sight picture straight on out as best you can, and you want to keep that. And then you want to develop a muscle memory to where you know when you're there, so that when you have to move, keeping that sight picture is a matter of muscle memory. Okay? That's what I do. It helped me, by doing this, it helped me to focus on that front sight, because as you move around, move in front of the light, move in front of the dark, move in front of different textures, different walls, because what that's going to do is that's going to show you on the sides of your front sight, you're going to get a little bit of light. So you want to consistently have the same amount, and then also the same level above. So when you go to different textures or different contrasts, light, dark, you'll see that and get used to knowing exactly where you're at to have that same exact sight picture and be exactly the same spot in the middle of your rear sight. Okay? So, like I said, just basic. Don't even need a firearm. Just go, you know, lock your fists and then just twist. Because then what you get used to doing is moving from the chest down. Because that's what you want. You don't want your shoulders coming in. You don't want one shoulder coming up, the other shoulder coming up, both back. You want both of them to be where they need to be. So when you're moving, you get to that spot and you know. It's almost kind of like you got a notch in your shoulder. So it's like, oh, click, oh, yep, I'm in position. You know that because you've done it enough times to where once you get in it, you know that feel. Okay? All right, so another one that I do is I'll take my training pistol, so you know we're safe. You know, I'm still not big on flashing, but this one is mostly to practice movement, and then I almost use it as a level. So what you want to do is I get my sight picture, for instance. So then, keeping that as straight as possible, I'll put the snap cap down. Okay? So now the idea, now you want to get your grip, get into your position, and get comfortable. And now the same thing. But now the difference is this is telling you if you're rising or falling. So the nice thing is that you got to keep that muzzle down. Your sight picture won't be perfect, which is why there's another part that I do with this as well. But again, body movement, keeping the movement down, getting different backgrounds to get that sight picture, okay? So that's gonna help. Well, that helped me with just working on that flip, because sometimes, I don't know if it's just my sight, just my brain, but sometimes when you're looking down the sights from the back, it's kind of hard to tell where your front is. So sometimes I had a tendency to want to dip my front down too low. I don't know why it is. I'd get that first shot, but then after that, I'd start pulling down. Some of it was anticipation and some things, and I worked through it. But even just, I mean, we're not even talking about pulling the trigger. Just naturally, I would sit a little bit low. I don't know if it was just because I was bringing my head down, or if I was sitting too high, or if I was just not getting down to the level I needed to. So again, here with the safe gun, moving around. Don't worry about that. See, like, I'm using my knees, I'm using my body, I'm using everything I possibly can, but I am not moving my head, my shoulders, or my hands. So I'm keeping my position. All right, so another thing that I do, they don't call me the Gadget Inspector for nothing. Typically, I would have my laser bullet for my target inside, and I would have my iTarget sled set up. So as I'm moving, I would just randomly move and then pull the trigger at given intervals, just to try different distances, you know what I'm saying, and different things. Unfortunately, the batteries on my iTarget laser died, and I'm waiting on some new batteries. I got some new ones, but they were the wrong ones. Burnt out fast, yada yada. So the other issue, like I said, getting used to the red dot is same deal. Turn red dot on, and then basically just do the same thing. So get yourself in position, and then just basically move, and then worry about what you have to do to keep that dot where you need it to be. Now, the added bonus to doing this with the actual firearm is snap caps. I don't know if the lighting is good enough in here. I don't know if you can see that blue down there, but yeah, that's one of my USCCA dummy rounds, snap caps, snap rounds, whatever you want to call them. So now the advantage here is that as we're moving around with the snap caps, with the laser bullet, you'll be able to move different positions and then try different things. A little lower, a little bit higher, a little bit off to the side. Because no matter what you're doing, you want to be mindful that you want to keep that triangle. So whether you're up, whether you're down, whether you're left, whether you're right, you don't want to be coming and adjusting your arms for your shooting position, because then you're going to mitigate recoil completely different. If you stick with your basics and go with what you're used to, you're going to be dealing with the same situation. This hand, that's the hand that you're going to use to fight that recoil and try to keep that down as best you can and keep it in position. This is your lock arm. And this one here, this is your shock absorber. This is the one that's going to try to take all of that extra that comes off that recoil. So all that extra energy, this is what's going to come off this shoulder. So if that's not in the same position, you're only going to come back and you're going to be off your next shot. And the idea here is to be able to follow through. We can all get that first shot down, right? We can hit the target once, but we want to consistently hit it and then hit it and then hit it. And then after that, we want to develop skills that can get us faster and faster and faster. And then no matter what, whether we have to do this or move or whatever we're doing, we can get to the goal faster, more efficient. More efficient is the key. Faster is a product of more efficient. You get better, you'll be faster. So, as we're setting up here, we got a dot on. So, one of the issues I will say that I do have, being as suppressor sights aren't available, or excuse me, suppressor sights, optic height sights aren't available that I know of, I haven't found. So, one of the issues that I have is that, especially in a dark situation, I can see the dot, but I can't see my rear sight. So there's 2 notches on the back of my Vortex Venom here, but even in the dark, I can't see that while trying to focus on that front laser. It's a little bright. So that's just an issue. We'll work that out. That's something different because we're now actually working on actually hitting the target at target acquisition. We're still just working on sight picture. So again, get yourself in position, lock the triangle, get to where you need to be. See, like I said, got my legs a little too far. And then start. Like I said, just start basic. Start with the movement. And then basically you just want to keep that dot right on that horizon. And you want to do that as easily as you possibly can. Now once you start to do that, you can start to worry about little things like movement. And realize that less is more. Big steps, especially side to side, you'll cross yourself up. You'll trip yourself up. If you don't know where your feet are, your face will meet the ground unnecessarily. So you just concentrate on keeping it as still as possible. And moving. Now with that, like I said, the benefit of the snap caps is that as you're doing, if you're using a shot timer or someone else, you have somebody call it out, but just pick random spots. Don't go with the easy stuff. Find a point and focus and then move around. Take a shot. Rack it. Get right back into position and get to doing the same thing. Worry about moving.